In order to achieve case plan goals, we need to write sound objectives. This is the part of the case plan where really all of the work takes place. And this is something that you should be doing along with the youth and family. One of the important things about objectives is that we really are very clear about the behavior that needs to be enhanced, change, or grow in order for this youth and or their family to achieve their case plan goal of either reunification or permanency. There are some specific criteria that are required for good sound objectives, and it's important that we pay attention to them each and every time we write an objective. The other thing about objectives is that they need to be related to a criminogenic need. Remember that if we address 3 to 4 criminogenic needs within our case plan, we dramatically reduce the incidence of recidivism, which is one of our primary goals. So when we're looking at objectives, they need to fulfill this criteria. One is they need to be very specific about the behavior that we want people to engage in. Second, they need to be measurable. That is, we need to share with people how we're going to know that the behavior is actually occurring. Third, they need to be achievable. This is a place where we really want to be very individualized for youth and families and make sure that what we're establishing along with them is something that's actually within their grasp or ability to do. Remember the principles of responsivity, where we're talking about things like learning style and motivational stage and abilities and strengths. We want to build on that. It needs to be relevant, that is, connected to why this youth and family are engaged in services with us. And it needs to be time limited. We need to establish at what time period we expect this to happen, because we know that many of us are really enhanced by having a certain element of urgency. We also really recommend that you think about making your objectives powerful. And one of the ways that you can do that is make sure that they're personal. Use individuals' names. Don't refer to them as the minor, even the youth, the family, the minor's parents. Use their names: John, George, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Whoever it is that you're trying to involve in your objective, it really makes it theirs. Remember that we want to use positive language, that is, what we want people to do. Sometimes we get caught up in terms and conditions, and many of those are based on things we don't want people to do. But we really hear the positive in any kind of information being given to us. Make sure the language is accessible, and by that we mean that it makes sense to those individuals. We really become enculturated with a certain language that is relevant to the court, but may not be understandable for that youth and that family. You may even need to write a little glossary. So in order to establish a relatively simple objective in terms of the number of words we're using, we may need to have a place where we further define what it is that we actually mean in terms of their behavior. We also want to make sure that we keep to one objective at a time. Try not to make compound objectives any more than we want to make compound sentences. So keeping it simple and keeping it pure and focused will make it much easier for the family.